You're listening to I-Live Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. I-Live Radio.
Really, because they say a good woman will make you a better man. Right,
I can't believe I'm about to talk over this beat.
Problem is, good women.
It's crazy. This is the new Mad Lib. Should be playing this for the people, no?
For real, for real.
Welcome back. And thank you for tuning into Sounds in the Hereafter. This is a special Pattern Select episode of Sounds in the Hereafter, where we bring in a producer, we sit them down in the hot seat, we speak to them, and let them do their thing live for about 40 minutes in the studio. Today, like I said at the top of the hour, we've got a brother who I got familiar with many moons ago, and we're going to go back into some... Oh, man. There used to be this website that we used to frequent a lot as producers and artists, and I'm sure every producer in the city has at least visited this website and this forum at least at one point in their production lifespan. Shout out to hiphopcanada.com and the Hip Hop Canada forums, where we used to, banter and, share each other's art with one another, criticize, berate, praise, all kinds of craziness used to go on this, on this forum. But it was a great place for us to really, become accustomed to a lot of the artists that were out there, and make that community much smaller and more close knit. So we've got the brother Royce Birth in the building. With us today.
What is
and
going on?
We are going to talk to him for a little while. So that's my story time. I usually give story time in the beginning. Royce, tell the people who you are, man.
Yeah, I go by the name of Royce Birth. That is ROYCEBIRTH, and I'm an MC, producer, but most of all, I'm a creator of what I do. Been doing it for a minute, and not only is it for myself, but it's just making sure that everybody else is creating in the best way possible.
And I love how you use that word creator, because a lot of people throw that term around loosely. You definitely do fit that description of somebody who's constantly creating. If you look into your history, you've got a pretty deep catalog of a discography that goes quite back, and it's solid, all the way through. Illified is the most recent project.
Yep.
Let's talk about that one and how that came about.
That one is just part of, on my website, I do a free online series in between doing retail albums. So this one was just for the people who enjoy the boom bap sound, but enjoy it where it's just completely off the wall. And, part of me creating is having a goal list, a bucket list, and one of them was just making something that was off the wall, not caring what was said, how it's done lyrically, and even beat-wise. So that was, the main thing. And the Illified, that's just not something that I came up with a week before the project came out. It was something that I've kind of nicknamed myself over for years and years and years. And I was like, just make a run with it.
And I like that you stick to that moniker. That moniker Illified definitely suits what is it you do. That project, and when I listened to it, what I loved the most about it was that it was so raw. It was so raw and so honest, from the beats to the lyrics, and just the way the whole package was put together. Really, really enjoyable listen from top to bottom. You've always prided yourself on continuing to excel, but also express yourself in a very raw beat format. That a lot of people nowadays are trying to stray away from, for whatever pressure reasons that are out there. Yeah. What keeps you so grounded in the space that you create in, and allowing you to make sure that you continue to stay true to what it is, the sound that you bring?
Well, I think for one, that the deeper you get into, I'll always use the word creating. I think when you're immersed in something, after a while you start tuning out what is the norm. You start developing your own norm and your own standard and your own ways of doing things. So as I got closer to that was my understanding of, okay, maybe for this project, maybe I don't want to have the polished sound. Maybe I want to have, take out the bass if I could, some projects I'm just like, maybe I don't want it cranked all the way up.
Right.
Some records I look at it like how the Bomb Squad used to. I heard an interview a while back where it's just like, sometimes a record's got to be so good that when it's being played next to something else, it kind of sticks out. So They used to just like blast it real hard and like have have the meters hitting and
Yeah,
distorting.
the red line, everything.
Yeah. And the records are great, and it, you can automatically separate what made a Public Enemy record from a Run DMC record.
Definitely,
but,
yeah.
So I mean, like, I try to follow that motto, if anything.
Now, you clearly use, a ton of samples with regards to how it is that you sequence and chop up your music.
Right.
How do you feel, these days about the sampling game and, just where it's going, where it's headed, and some of the roadblocks that, a lot of artists have come in contact with it?
Well, I mean, the way I see it is that a lot of rules that are made are man-made to begin with. So I mean, like, I don't have no real issues with how people choose to use sounds. Whether it's sampled or non-sampled, at the end of the day, you're making something out of nothing. Especially that's what sampling is. Sometimes you're using 2 seconds of something and you're expanding into 15 seconds worth just to make one melody.
You got it.
So I mean, to me, I think there shouldn't be no real set rules of how things should be done, and I'm not one to tell anybody how to do it either. If it comes out good and the listener digs it, that's what matters at the end of the day.
And clearly this, what it is that we do, as artists, as producers, it's built off breaking rules. I mean, we don't, rules were meant to be broken in what it is that we do, and I think that's what stands true to the authenticity of the music that you and other artists create, beat-wise. Now, when I remember you, I see the tools that you have here in the office today.
Yes.
The MPC 1000 and your laptop. When I met you, I think you were on a 2000 XL at the time.
This is where we're hopping in a time machine
We
now.
are hopping in the time machine because, I remember the 2000 XL being a staple, tool is what you use. What made you transition?
One thing in particular is that after a while, it's just moving on from one piece of equipment to the next. I mean, like, mind you, the 2000 XL is something that, like, I love that sound to death, and this is just something a little bit more portable for me to take around. When I used to do beat battles, I used to carry the 2000 XL and be this piece of rectangular metal that you just bring in, and it's just like, I can't just bring that in. I can't just bring in a zip drive and just wait for 5 minutes just for it all to load up. So I find that the 1000 is a bit quicker, and I keep my eye and ears open to all the new software that's out, but at the same time, I'm still a fan of the hardware because that's where I came from. The hardware, the analog stuff. I mean, like, I'm a student of that, and I that's always part of my workflow.
Yeah. Now, again, going back to the projects that you've done, there's been so many.
Too many to count.
I
lost count now.
You're kind of like a Mad Lib in regards to the amount of projects that you've got floating around, which is really, really dope and refreshing. How do you keep yourself so consistent? You know what I mean? And especially now, I mean, you are married now.
I've been married for quite a few years.
Right. So, with that.
Last time I checked. Shout out to my wife.
Shout out to my wife as well, too. I'm going to get in trouble. But, I mean, having said that, time is always a factor. You know what I mean? And, and I always ask producers this because it's such a very, very selfish, in a way, self-centered art form. Where we really kind of need to go away and kind of block everything out. How do you manage doing that now with the the young family and whatnot?
Well, I for all my heads out there who are into the the Avengers, there's a part where the Incredible Hulk, they're just like, kind of like they're telling him turn to Hulk, and he's just like, oh, I can turn that on any given minute because I'm always angry. So if I apply that into music terms, I'm just like, what, my mind is always on with doing the music. So I might not have a piece of equipment with me, but in my head I'm developing ideas. So by the time I sit down and I'm ready to do something, I go ahead and get busy with it. And a lot of times too, I mean, this is how much I'm immersed in it. Sometimes I might have a dream. It could be even a sample that I'm dreaming about. I wake up, make the beat.
Right.
There's been quite a few times where I've done that and made records out of them. Great records too. So I mean, like, at the end of the day, I think that the more that you find yourself making music, and I try to make it at least put in 6 hours of work per day, as much as I can.
Wow.
And do that, the more and more I do that is the more that I find that my mind doesn't kind of come out of that whole zone, because it's always there. I might walk away from something and I might have to go do something else, but my mind is thinking, okay, what do I do next? Okay, bring down the kick on that. So my mind is always in that mode, no matter what.
That's dope. And wifey, how does she feel about that? If she was here right now, what would she say?
she would nod her head in agreement, give the thumbs up, and that's how it goes.
Dope. So, we talked about the projects. We talked about your equipment.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to let people know about? Maybe new projects that are coming out, something that's in the works.
Well,
any artists that you may be working with right now that you want to squeeze you want to bleed out a little bit?
If this was a past, I might have fell victim to that. I might have spit out every one of them and then say at the end, oh, there's no release date for it, anything like that. But for me, it's just when projects are done and it's ready to roll out, I'll say them. But for now, the one project that I got coming up pretty soon is a jazz-based project, completely jazz from top to bottom, and that one's gonna be released this upcoming Friday.
Whoa!
Yes.
Whoa! Okay, let's talk about this for a second. So this is a jazz-based project.
Here we go.
This is a jazz-based project.
Round.
You said.
Yeah.
Tell me how this project is being created. Is it live instrumentation? How are you doing this?
Well, for one thing, part of creating music, again, aside from sampling, I do original works. This is actually my second jazz project. Decide to do one at least annually. And to answer the question, everything is original all the way completely. And it's not just something where it's one way of doing things. It's 50-50, software-based and over a keyboard too. So a lot of it is just ideas coming through. A lot of them are improvised as well on the spot. Sometimes compared to when I do sample beats, I might have everything locked in for 4 bars. These are ones where it's just like
all over the place.
All over the place. I might have to play the bass all the way through one song just to get everything executed the way I want it. And and I try to keep it respectfully in the realms of that genre. I don't try to incorporate the hip hop sound. If it's a jazz project, keep it as a jazz project. If it's an alternative project, keep it to an alternative project. So
incredible.
I really respect those lanes as best as I can.
Wow, you're really speaking to your talent here. How many instruments do you play?
Play keys and drums. Now, don't ask me about music notation and music theory, because I play mostly by ear. But once I get going on it. But those are my main 2 things right there.
Incredible. I'm really looking forward to that. Being a jazz head myself, that's definitely something that I'm going to be looking out for.
Yes, sir.
With regards to the beat scene now, and we've watched progression, happen throughout the years. From what it was to what it is now.
Yeah.
And producers having, what I find, in my opinion, a lot more avenues to be able to not only share their work, but also, have get recognition for their work through different avenues and through different mediums.
Yeah.
How do you feel right now about, the game for the people that are behind the boards and them being able to kind of shine a little bit more than, I would say, vocalists at this point right now?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely in the majority for the music producers in our benefit. I feel that it's very important for us to not just stick to one genre of things, and I tell a lot of people who are younger than me that's the real key of doing things, because the more that you're able to handle different genres is the more that you're able to tap into different things. I'm able to get, thankfully, placements on TV and film, but a lot of that is understanding how to do it and how it's done, and also the networking. But going back a little, I think even one of the things that I find that music producers need to get more in touch with is not sticking to one trademark sound. One thing I find is that there's 3 different types of music producers right now in the hip-hop genre right now. You got the people who are into the trap movement. And mind you, I love all music and appreciate all these type of things. So when I say this, I'm not slamming anybody. So you got the trap movement, you got the cats who are still into the boom bap, and then you got the cats who are, I call the Dilla movement, where everything is lo-fi and the drumming is at times sloppy and all that kind of stuff. So I feel that a lot of music producers, once they get into one of those three, they stick to it and they stay in there. And I think it's always important to kind of, it's fine for you to have that trademark sound, but every once in a while you got to tap out and go into do something else, just to show people that you have variation in what you do. And I know it's a bit debatable.
No,
to each your own.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I just, and I get it. Like, there's a comfort zone there for a lot of producers, right?
Yeah.
They find this pocket that they're good at, and they stay in there. And, it's kind of like a get in where you fit in kind of a thing with just, I'm going to stay right here and do my thing, excel at this. But what you say is key, with regards to being able to branch out and I guess expand yourself, in different areas. My only thing is, how do you cross the bridge from doing something that you may not be comfortable with or may not necessarily like, but that you got to give a shot in order for you to be able to expand your horizons and maybe, give yourself a little bit more of a more versatility?
Yeah, I think sometimes you kind of gotta zone out for a minute and get away from everything and everybody, because I think once people are accustomed to one way of how they're appreciated, they stick to it. So I think that sometimes you got to get away from everything and everybody just to kind of zone in and do what you want. It comes to a point where you can't care what you're doing for a minute, just to see where it gets you. If it gets you across the road, hey, it got you across the road and it works, do it again. But I think that comes over time. I mean, like, if doing one style of music works for you, keep at it, but I encourage everybody every once in a while just to do something. And that's the reason why, every once in a while I put out these jazz projects just so it keeps me, doing something else for a minute, just to keep my mind off of something else, and then I can come back in and do hip hop again, you know.
I mean, Madlib always said, as we listen to him in the background, he always said that he gets really, really bored real easily,
Yeah.
So, 1 minute he'll be working on a beat, the next minute he'll jump on the drums, the next minute he'll jump on the keys, because his mind is just constantly wanting to do different things. It's like the ADD of a producer. You just got to keep moving and moving and moving. And you're right. It's key. And I think a lot of young producers coming up need to hear that and understand that that's something that they need to try and work into their repertoire. So
yeah, no doubt.
Listen, man, I can sit here and talk to you for the whole hour, but we got to give you your time to shine. You've got about 45 minutes to rock, and we want to let you do your thing. You have any shout outs before you go?
Yeah, shout out to the whole entire world right now. I mean, like, going through something. I mean, all the people going through all the issues with the hurricanes and the earthquakes, kind of crazy right now. But to all my people out there, man, just hold your head up. And to all my creators, keep creating, because that's what we're meant to do. Most definitely, creation is the key. Let's continue on. We're going to give Royce Birth his time to do his thing. He's going to rock out a set for you guys. Get your tape decks ready, y'all. He's going to have some beats, some heaters in here. I know he's got them. This is i-Live Radio, Sounds in the Hereafter, special pattern select segment, boy Intelx. Peace.
await thy bidding.
They say a good woman will make you a better man. Right, that's why they say a good woman will make you a better man. Problem is, good women ain't my type.
That was the brother Royce Birth giving us an incredible set of beats for the last 45 minutes for you and yours. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Royce, that was extremely, extremely dope. Anything that you want to say to the people before you leave again?
Was that really 45 minutes?
46 to be exact. Actually, no, it was about 36 minutes.
Damn, that was good. Yeah, just shout out to everybody who's listening. Thank you to I-Live Radio. You know, we are living for radio. And once again, you know, thank you for everybody who's putting together this whole movement. It's beautiful.
Make sure you let them know your social media. Where can they find you?
You can catch me at roycebirth.com. That's ROYCEBIRTH. And through there, you can check all my social handles through there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming through again, brother. We're definitely going to have you on again in the near future. And we're going to get back into some beats for the last 10 minutes of the show. Sounds in the Hereafter. This is a Pattern Select special episode with the brother Royce Birth. Hope you enjoyed. And we're going to do what we do. Get back into this music. All right? Peace.